So lab 6 says creating summary pages. And so what you can do for like VAV controllers, you can create summary pages to show information from multiple VAVs in sort of a table. And you can group them by the floor that they're on. You can group them for the entire site. You can group them for the associated air handler if you've made an air handler association. And so that's what we call an AHU ref. And so that's where in lab 6, we've already done this. We should have already applied the AHU tag to our AHU controllers. So what we can do then is select a group of VAV controllers in the equip tree, and then we're going to click Tools, and then go to Batch Update AHU Ref so that we can choose the air handler supplying that group of VAVs. So DB Builder generally is not that nav sensitive. It is when you're adding points, but when you're just sort of looking at the points that are already there, I don't worry too much about nav location. So I'm going to do Menu, DB Builder, and then I'm going to drill down through the equip tree to training to floor 1. And so air handler 5 is my air handler for that floor. It should already have the AHU tag. And so VAV 102, 103, and 104 should already have the VAV tag. And so if I select just equips that have the VAV marker tag, like VAV 102, 103, and 104, then I can go to gears at the bottom of the left sidebar, and I'll see batch update AHU ref only if I've just selected VAV equips. That won't show if you've selected anything other than just VAV equips. So gears, bottom of the left sidebar, batch update AHU ref. Then it will show me any equips tagged as air handlers. So I want to pick air handler 5 since that's my floor 1 air handler.
Batch update AHU ref, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Then click apply. And now if you go look at any of your VAVs, you should have this AHU ref property tag that shows you which VAV it's associated with. So now that those 3 VAVs are associated with air handler 5, I can go to the second floor and associate the second floor VAVs with air handler 3, because that's my second floor air handler. So on floor 2 of my training site, I'll pick VAV 105, 106, and 107. Then go to gears at the bottom of the left sidebar.
I'm still a little bit.
Update AHU.
You hit the batch update AHU, right?
Yep. And then just pick your air handler. So go ahead and share your screen.
Damn. So I'm here. I want to.
So air handler 2 is your first floor air handler. Click apply.
Okay, that's what I had. And then you said go down to floor 2.
So now just go click away on a different equip and come back to one of your first floor VAVs. Yep. So, and then you should see a property tag of AHU ref showing you that that VAV is associated with air handler 2.
Yeah, training AHU. Okay.
Okay, so that looks good. So now select VAV 105, 106, and 107 and batch update the AHU ref to associate in your case with air handler 3. So tools at the bottom of the left sidebar, the gears. Batch update AHU ref.
Okay, and then select 3 because
in this case it's air handler 3. Apply. And now click away and come back to any of your second floor VAVs, and it should have an AHU ref of air handler 3. Yep, that looks good. Colin, are your AHU refs looking okay?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Might
good deal. So
I can't. Sometimes it just can't keep up.
yeah, it's just, again, just let me know if I'm going too fast, and then we can just take a pause to get you caught up. So in this case, I'm going to go to Error Handler 3 and apply. And so now my second floor VAVs all are associated with Error Handler 3. So one of the reasons I'm making that Error Handler association is so that I can group my VAVs not just by site and floor, but also by Error Handler. The Error Handler group happens to be the same as the floor group, but it may not always be that way. You might have 2 Error Handlers on a floor, each supplying, one half of the VAVs. So sometimes having the Error Handler association is helpful, and I want to show you that you can do that. So once we've done the AHU ref, step 2 says navigate in the blue nav bar to a VAV equip or controller, which I'm already at one, VAV 104. And so then you can do menu, and then Summary Builder is a system integrator app. So you can build summaries that are viewed in the summary app, similar to how graphics that we build in Graphics Builder are viewed in the Graphics app. Summaries that we build with the Summary Builder are viewed in the Summary app. So click on Summary Builder, and then click New to make a new summary. And then you have this summary name, and it says enter a summary name such as New VAV Summary. New VAV Summary. Select summaries to run on, and so that's your groupings. And you can group by any or all of them. So I'm going to group by Error Handler and floor and site. You can skip clone. And you don't have to necessarily, if you just wanted to show a summary by site, you might not always choose Error Handler and floor, but it's good to show you the different options. So
how are you able to select and clone?
Wait, how are you guys?
Say that. Yeah, so if you click on one of them, like AHU, then hold the control button down on your keyboard and click on floor and site, then those 3 should be highlighted in blue.
Just want to builder. So you gotta go up here.
Oh, I'm in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't click.
Are you good? Or does somebody need to share their screen?
Yeah, I don't know how you got there. So I got to the create summary, but my second one doesn't have a drop down.
Let's see.
Have anything in
Take a look at your.
run from?
Let me take a look at what you got. Go ahead and share your screen. So you didn't nav to a VAV before you created the summary. So cancel. So in your blue nav bar, navigate to a VAV on any floor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now do menu, Summary Builder, new.
Oh, okay.
Now, yeah, enter a summary name like new VAV summary. And then select AHU, floor, and site. Hold the control button down. Good. And then select points for summary. Those are the points you want to include on the summary. In this case, I'm just going to choose cooling octemp SP, heating octemp SP, and zone temperature. You can use Control and Shift to select multiple points. So cooling octemp SP, hold the control button down, click on heating octemp SP, hold the control button down, and click on zone temperature. So those are 3 points that I've highlighted. The filter is fine here. By default, it's showing the marker tags for that equip, which is equip in VAV. So any equip tagged as a VAV will be included in the summary. So then click next. Then you can choose the order of the points. So maybe you want the zone temperature first, so I can give that a 1. Maybe a cooling set point is second, I give that a 2. And maybe heating octemp SP is third, I give that a 3. Click apply. Doesn't look like much happens, but the summary has been created. And to actually view a summary, you need to go further back up in the tree to pick either a site or a floor or an error handler before you choose the summary app. So I'll go all the way up to the site for training in my blue nav bar. And then if I do menu summary, then there's my site new VAV summary. If I just click it on the right, in the mobile viewing area on the right, I see 1 point at a time. Those are the 3 points that I added. You can use the lightning bolt to change the value, or the graph icon to view the trend data for that value, assuming it's a trend point. If you want to see that trend, the summaries in the larger work area to the left, hit the left pointing arrow at the top of the right sidebar to go back one level.
Hey, Mike,
And
you
then,
were showing column screen that whole time.
Oh, yeah, I sure am. I was just thinking about that.
So if you could just backtrack a second so we can get to that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so go in the blue nav bar to your training site. You've already created the summary, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So go to the training site in your nav bar, and then do menu summary, and then click on the site new VAV summary, and that'll show you a summary 1 point at a time in the right sidebar. And that's helpful if you're viewing the summaries on a mobile phone, mobile display. If you click this left arrow at the top of the right sidebar, then you can click on these 4 rectangles to the right of your summary name, and then that will fling the summary screen over into the larger workspace on the left. And so now I can see all my 3 points all in one table. You can also sort by any of the columns by just clicking on the column header. And then if you click on it again, it does a reverse sort. And so now I am swinging it over to the left. So when you're in the workspace on the left, you can sort by any of the columns, and it will also show you min, max, average information for that column. You'll see a button for each of your VAV equips. And if you click on that button under the name column, it will, and you click on the big circle bottom left with the little arrow pointing out top right, it'll show you the graphic for that equip. You will have to close the summary because it pops up in the background. Or you can minimize it. So, and then plus brings it back up. So you can pick any, view the graphics for any of your equips and either minimize or close. Click the plus to bring it back to the foreground. So those are pretty helpful, and then you can sort them by or group them differently. So this is a site summary, but in the nav bar, if I go to floor 1 and then go back to the summary app, if I pick my new VAV summary and swing it to the left, now this just shows me the VAVs on floor 1. If I was at floor 2, it would show me just the VAVs for floor 2. You have the same options to sort, view graphics, minimize. So those can be pretty helpful, especially for like VAV cases where you want to see groups, information from groups of controller all on one page. And then you can also go and nav to an error handler if that error handler is the AHU ref of VAVs. The error handler groupings will look the same as the floor groupings, but they are actually sorting based on the AHU ref, not the floor assignment. Here's a case where it looks like I got out of sync again. Oh, no, there you go. It's just being slow. No, like the sling part. Oh, because I have this up here. That's why. So close that, swing it over. So now this is grouped based on the AHU ref, not based on the floors. Anything with a lightning bolt, even in the area here on the left, you could click on the lightning bolt to change the set point from the summary view. If I want this heating set point for 102 to go to 68 degrees, I can click lightning bolt, set default, arrow up to 68 and apply, and then that will write down to that controller. And these summaries don't update that frequently. It did finally, The live button here bottom left will cause it to update a little bit more frequently. The last lab of the day is lab 7 for schedules. And so the first part of lab 7's already been done for you, but I include that in there because when you're making your own new projects, you do need to make the point both writable and schedulable before you can associate an IntelliFront schedule with the point. So in the VAV controllers, there's a point called operating state OR, which overrides the state. So if I go into DB Builder and look at my operating state OR point in any VAV, this point is already marked as writable. It's already marked as schedulable. And then this schedulable tag here is the level that it writes to. So that's part of that priority array we were looking at before. So schedules are relatively low in the priority array. The higher the number, the lower the priority. So level 1 is the highest priority.
I don't have that.
So if you were adding your own new points, you would need to make them writable and schedulable before a schedule could write to it. You also need to know about the type of point, the kind. So if it's an enumerated point, meaning there's a number associated with a certain set of text, the schedule type needs to match. So if you want the schedule to write to an enumerated point, it needs to be an enumerated schedule. If it was a on-off Boolean point, then you'd make a Boolean schedule. There's also numeric schedules that can be associated with numeric points. So part of what goes along with that operating state OR point, you can see here in the enumeration tag, it tells me here's my choices that I can set the state to night setback or morning ready or occupied or unoccupied or restore, which means clear the override. So we're going to make an enumerated schedule. So now we're going to use navigation to navigate just to the site. I like to store all my schedules just at the site level. So go up to the training site in your nav bar. And then do menu. Schedules is all one end user app. There's not like a schedule builder and a schedules app, because that's something that end users will often want to change. So click on schedules. And there are no schedules currently shown. It just says no data there on the right. Then it says click on the gears icon and select create new schedule. Get that highlighted like that. So I go to gears, top of the right sidebar, create new schedule. And then I'll give my schedule a name like ASIC 1 schedule. And then the schedule type, I said that the type needs to match the kind of the point that you're writing to. So since this is an enumerated point, I need to change the schedule type to be enum. Otherwise, they won't match and it won't let you associate the point with the schedule. Leave a check in the box for has default value. So we set to enum, has default value option, click OK. Now use enum value set. It's going to show you all the different type of enum lists for any point in the database. So you want to choose the one that starts with set state to night setback. And then the default value is when I haven't added an event to my schedule, what value should I be writing? And so normally we default to either night setback or unoccupied and create events, at which point we want to write occupied. So you could choose either night setback or unoccupied here. I'll just choose unoccupied just so that we can have a different, had to choose something from the list, change it from the default. So I chose my enum value set associated with a different state. The default value is the unoccupied state. Click OK. And then it says, oh, actually it says set state to night setback. I chose unocc. Oh no, that's right. Select the enum value set with set state to night setback and set the default value to unocc. We did that. So on the add points to schedule page, select the operating state OR point for each VAV controller. So I'm just going to select operating state OR for VAV 102 through 107. And you can use Control and Shift for multi-select there. So I'm not doing anything on the essential training site because those are not live controllers, and I'm just excluding the RTUs now because this is going to be just my VAV schedule. So pick those 6 points, click OK. Schedule's been created, click OK. And so there's your schedule on the right, again, right side being mobile view. So it says in the menu sidebar, click on this schedule and click Edit to open the schedule editor. So right now it's unoccupied because I haven't added any new events. If I click on that schedule and click Edit, then here is the current schedule. If you want to add a new event, click on the plus right above 12 a.m., kind of top left of the right sidebar. And then it gives you a little hint, click one of the highlighted areas to add an event. So today's Monday, so if I just click in the Monday column, then by default I get a vertical bar that represents the entire day, and I have these little sliders, these little handles I can grab and slide down. So we start at about 7:30, and if I go to the bottom, we're going to end, I'll just put 2 o'clock, just so it doesn't shut off right at 1:30. And yours, you might do 10:30 to 5 since that's in Eastern time. But pick we potentially could get into a little bit of a vicious circle here because we're going to have all 3 of our front ends writing to all of our VAVs, and sort of the last write wins. And that's unusual. Usually, almost always, there's 1 front end per system. So this is a bit unusual, but I think it's helpful that we all can see each other's controllers. So choose the start and end time, and then scroll back up and click Apply top right. And then since it's an enumerated schedule, it says, okay, I see your start and end times. What state do you want to be in then? So I'm going to set the state to occupied for that time duration. Click Apply. And so now that Monday schedule has been set. And so we can sling the schedule over to the left side so we can take advantage of the greater workspace too. And then we can also duplicate the schedule to other days of the week. So if in the right sidebar, you click on the arrow pointing to the left in the top left of the right sidebar, then go back to the gears, the new icon in the top left of the right sidebar. There is, oops, I'm sorry, that's not right. A little different depending on which one we're doing. So I'm going to click on the schedule and edit. And then while it's viewing here on the right, click this less than, greater than, the little triangle icons there in the top right of the right sidebar. And that's what swings it over to the left. And so these right and left sides are not going to stay in sync. Whichever one we edited in, that side will update, but the other one will not. So don't be alarmed if they are not always in sync. So if I want to duplicate Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I can click the left arrow going back in my schedule window. And then if I click on my schedule, from the right, I have a tools option. And if you click on tools, you get some schedule tools where duplicate schedule day is one of those tools. And so then if you click duplicate schedule day and click OK, then it says, okay, Monday's the only day that has an event in it. So you want to duplicate that where? I want to duplicate it to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So highlight those weekdays, click Apply, and now Monday through Friday all have that same time of, in my case, 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Notice the right side did not update. That's okay. If you go to the points view here, where it says weekly events and points, that'll show you the different points that are being written to. And then the events section is where you can add like holidays. So like Thanksgiving is an upcoming holiday. So if I go to the events page, the events tab, I don't want to follow my normal Thursday schedule on Thanksgiving. So I can click the plus button here to the left, give my event a name like Thanksgiving. The event value for Thanksgiving, if I wanted to be unoccupied, I would choose set state to unoccupied. And then you have the option to choose a range, which is just entering like days of the month, or a rule for things like Thanksgiving. If I choose rule, I can pick the 4th Thursday in November and set an all-day event by turning on that switch to be unoccupied. And then once I set all the event settings, I can just click the check top right, and now Thanksgiving will set the state to unoccupied all day on the 4th Thursday in November. And so the last thing we're going to do is we'll save this 15, and I'll make a note here to remind myself, but we'll do another schedule. This will be on 11/4/2020, add Boolean schedule for AHU. So the last thing we're going to do today is related to this step 14. And there's a concept called tuning policies, which has to do with how often the connector goes out to read or write a point. So by default, the schedule points only get written to when on a kind of transition of events. So if I had a 8 to 5 schedule, it would write once at 8 a.m. and not write again until 5 p.m. And that can cause a little bit of problems if like a controller loses power, if it's not writing periodically. And so a tuning policy for schedulable points is a good idea to write whatever the correct value is periodically in case the controller forgot. And so when we create a tuning policy, there's this thing called max write time, which is even if the value doesn't change, rewrite the value every so often. So it says tuning policies can be created, edited, and applied using the Folio app. So what we'll do is go to Menu and Folio, and then we're going to launch the Folio app. And so once that Folio app launches, it goes on to say use tools connectors tuning policy to set that. So that's a way to manually edit the policy. I'm going to show you something from that wiki page that's helpful. And see if I can find it here. I think it's in advanced topics. No. Connector tools, tuning policy. So from this page itself, they give you this file you can download called BACnet Tuning. It's referred to as a trio file. And if you download that, then you can load it into the database and then run this function called finAssign con tuning, and it'll automatically apply a tuning policy to different points depending on their settings. So sensors or inputs will read more often than outputs or commands, which will read more often than set points. And then schedulable points, they'll get a tuning policy, but it won't have a max write time, but we'll add that. So remember if I added the BACnet tuning.trio file. I did not. So if you're on that wiki, and if you don't do it here, if you just want to watch it in the video to know how to do it later, that's fine too. So I'm going to download this BACnet tuning trio file and download it. And so now it's in my downloads folder. It's BACnet tuning. It's the 4th time I've downloaded it. And so then if I go back to my IntelliFront screen, I can click, well, let me show you here. Let's go back. So it says, upload. Yeah, upload trio file to your database using the upload button. So if I go here and upload, then it says click or drag a file to this area to upload. So if I just click in there, then I can go to my downloads and pick the BACnet tuning trio file that I just downloaded. So there's the name. I click OK. Completed successfully. And so, whoops. And so the next thing I really need to do is run this fin assign con tuning with the open close paren in the query field. So that means go into the query box. I did a copy paste, enter. And so then it gives you a summary of what it did. And so different sensors, there's that many sensor points, that many command points, that many set points. And so now if I close out, I can actually go back into DB Builder, because one of the trees in DB Builder is tuning policies all the way at the bottom. So if you click on tuning policies in the DB Builder tree all the way at the bottom, this schedule tuning policy is applied to points that are schedulable. So in fact, if we go into our equip tree, training site floor 1, pick a VAV, and pick that operating state OR point, there will be a new property tag called con tuning ref that shows us which tuning policy is applied to that point, the one called schedule tuning. So if I go to my tuning policies, there is a way, if you just click on it and then you can click edit. There used to be a problem, I'm not sure if they fixed it yet, where it would kind of change the name and whatnot if you went through this area. And so the first time I do it, since there's not a max write time applied to the schedule tuning policy, I am going to go through the edit procedure. So click my schedule tuning policy, click edit. Now I'm going to enable max write time. And it says max write time in minutes. This is how often do you want to rewrite to that point, even if the value hasn't changed. So I'll put in something like 15 minutes in there. You don't put a check in the box for schedule write. That's for a very specific type of schedule point that doesn't match what we have. So if I enable the max write time, enter the interval, and click apply. So here's the problem that I've seen, where when you go through that editing process, it creates this folder called undefined, and then it moves your tuning policy in there and changes the name so that it has a number next to it. Each time you edit it, it increments that number, and I don't like that. So I can kind of fix that if I go to my tuning policies. Let's see, there's my, where am I at? Schedule tuning, there's schedule tuning 1. So if I click this I button to the left, then I can do two things. I can change the diff to not have the number in it, and I can delete the folder path by clicking the X. And then when I apply and refresh my tuning policies node, now schedule tuning is back up at the top level without that number next to it. But now it does have this write max time, so that every 15 minutes it's going to rewrite to that schedule point saying, hey, if you forgot, here is the value that you should be following. So you can find that. It'll be in the recording. It'll be in the wiki. But tuning policies can be important for things like schedule points, and also to prioritize points that change more quickly than others. So we're just a few minutes past. We did make pretty good progress to get caught up there. So that's actually where I've added this add Boolean schedule. That won't take long to do on Wednesday morning. So the last thing I want to do before we sign off is make a snapshot of our project, because we've put in a few hours and we want to have a backup of all the work that we've done. So if you go to Menu, Folio, and Menu, then on the right side you can click Snapshot, and then Make Snapshot in the right side. You'll get a little animation, gets to 100% and completes, and then in your list of snapshots you should see one with the current date and time. Notice the size is growing, but it's still not that big because we haven't added that much to it.